a thief. Well now, that's ironic.
Welcome back to Devious Intent, the show all about spotlighting villains. Today we're looking at Talbot from Uncharted 3. Talbot has a few problems, and no, I don't mean a troubled past or something like that, because we're never told anything about his origin. But what I mean is, he's poorly written, and this all comes from Uncharted 3 itself. Talbot suffers because Uncharted 3's writing is terrible, the ending is rushed, and scenes exist for no good reason, creating a character that can be best described as inconsistent. He's a villain that's enjoyable at face value. When you're in the moment, and he's doing his thing, you're having a good time. But once you stop and take a look at what happened, you realize not a lot of it made sense. Yet, even with these glaring flaws, he's probably the most interesting character in the series, simply because he isn't a walking cliché. But although they might have been cliché, they were amazingly polished clichés. And again, that's Talbot's main fault. A lack of polish or a clear vision from the writers. It feels like they never really knew where they were going with him. And they don't go anywhere with him. But what's he like? Talbot is a skilled marksman, fighter, and apparently he's a master of deception. I say apparently because it's really poorly presented in the game, and that's what the writer said after getting a bunch of questions from confused players. What I mean is, Talbot does all of these crazy things in the game, but they're never questioned by the characters beyond, wow, that was weird. For example, he gets shot just to appear a moment later, and sure, I can accept that he was wearing a bulletproof vest or something like that, but there are no reasons given for how he somehow knows where Drake is at all times, and can teleport from dead ends.
Just couldn't leave it alone, could you? Come here.
There's never a point where he's confronted about this and it's revealed to all be a trick, and there's never a point where any of the characters find this out. I can only assume that they never got a chance to cap this plot point off because they were rushed for time. Or they wanted to go for some sort of supernatural element, but removed it at the last minute like Heavy Rain did, causing just as many problems with the plot. I actually thought he was going to be the big supernatural twist at the end of the game, because this is Uncharted, but no, he's just a normal guy. He also works with hallucinogens at several points in the story as a way of getting what he wants.
No.
I think at this point, some of you who have actually played the game might be asking, what about Marlowe? Talbot isn't the main villain of the game, he's actually the right-hand man of Marlowe. But Marlowe is a terrible villain. She does nothing, isn't threatening, and is barely even in the game. The only thing threatening about Marlowe is that she always has Talbot with her. But other than that, Talbot gets way more screen time than her, he's the one who actually gets things done, and he's the guy you want to fight. I find it hard to describe Talbot's personality. You never get a chance to get to know him like you do with the other villains in the series. In stories in general, there's usually a scene or two where the villain and the protagonist talk about something. For example, Lazarevich gets many of these scenes in Uncharted 2.
So, you have tested my will. Now it is my turn to test yours.
But Talbot never gets this, so you're left feeling like something was missing from his character. He's straight to the point and doesn't care about theatrics. That being said, you can tell he gets a kick out of making Drake mad.
Nice work, gentlemen. Harris, please relieve Mr. Drake of the artifact. Yeah, Harris. Come get it. Now, it's hardly worth dying over, is it? Your friend doesn't think so.
Come on, Nate.
But here's why I call him inconsistent. In some scenes he seems like a by-the-books guard for Marlowe, but in others he's really strange.
Let's split up. Try to flank him.
Damn it, where is he?
Sully.
I mean, look how he just appeared out of nowhere, knew where Drake was, and was all around creepy. He does this all the time, usually when Marlowe isn't around, and this was a major reason I thought he had some sort of secret. If they did actually end up giving him some sort of twist, it would have been awesome to replay the game and go, oh yeah, he's totally different here, I should have known. Like if you replay Infamous, Kessler's words take on a whole new meaning. But why didn't Talbot just warn the others instead of trying to take Drake out himself? This doesn't fit with his characterization as a cautionary tactician. And here's another example of inconsistent characterization. Like I said, Talbot is a skilled marksman and fighter, and throughout the game, he constantly gets the better of Drake. But just look at this scene. It makes no sense for his character to do this. He isn't afraid of Drake, why would he? Legions of spiders? No problem. Drake running at me with no weapon? Oh no! I don't understand why he would run even if he was afraid of Drake, because his people are right there. He's moving away from the people who could help him. But there's a reason for this drastic change in character.
For instance, there's a chase scene in Yemen in Uncharted 3 where we're chasing a guy through a level. We had no idea who that guy was for, I'd say, about a year and a quarter. But we had the level. We made it. We didn't know who he was going to be.
Yeah, that's right. They compromised his character by throwing him into this chase scene that made no sense just because they had to have it. You couldn't put someone else in there? Like this useless pirate you introduce into the story just so we can have a 5-chapter ship sequence that goes nowhere. Sorry, Uncharted 3 makes no sense. Well, anyway, Marlowe's big plan is to find this city and get this genie or something that, like, polluted the water there, and they want to use it for something. I don't know. The water has the same effect as Talbot's drug darts, so I don't see the point. And I'm trying really hard not to turn this into an all-out rant on how bad Uncharted 3's story is, so I'll get straight to the point. Marlowe's plans are foiled in a laughably rushed ending where she then drowns in sand, but who cares because she was an awful villain. Can you imagine drowning in sand? She's probably still alive under there. It's not as bad as Drake murdering Navarro by dragging him to the bottom of the sea with a helicopter, but it's still pretty bad. Anyway, this sends Talbot into rage mode, and he teleports out of that pit so he can have a final fight with Drake. This scene is very reminiscent of Metal Gear Solid 4's final fight, but not as good. It either looks really cool or stupid, depending on how cooperative the jarring fight animations are. I also think it's funny how he gets shot in the arm only to pick up a giant rock to try and crush Sully's head. So yeah, you shoot him a bunch and that kills him because I guess he forgot to put on his bulletproof vest today, and he falls into the sand below. And wow, every villain I've done so far has ended by falling off something. So that's Talbot, a strange guy marred by bad writing that you learn nothing about. Is he a good villain? No. But he is different, and that's more than can be said about most of the villains in the series. He's just missing some sort of closure, and the jarring changes in character don't help at all. He's set up well, but never given any time to develop, so once he's dead, you feel like there should have been more, and you're left with so many questions. Like, why don't you have a first name? Anyway, thanks for watching everybody, I hope you enjoyed.